All right, my friends, good afternoon. It's Ivan Oberon, your favorite mortgage consultant with Prosperity Home Mortgage. And I'm going to be starting kind of a new series, if you will, where we just want to bring value. So I'm working in the real estate field. I've gotten the blessing and the privilege to know and meet so many professionals out there doing the right thing, been in the business a long time. And I just figured that we can bring some valuable insights and advice and just stories to hopefully help others in the real estate investing and real estate community, real estate acquisitions, dispositions, refinances, you name it, everywhere from agents, brokers, title, escrow, home warranty, and a variety of different things. And today I have the privilege of starting this off with one of the top producing agents for many years for Berkshire Hathaway. He's also a seasoned branch manager out of the Berkshire Hathaway Sherman Oaks office. His name is Keith Fisher, and he consistently ranked in the top 2% of Berkshire Hathaway agents, consisting of over 64,000 agents across the nation. So he definitely has some experience below his belt, and he's just an all-around excellent person, great manager. And I'm so glad to have him with us on this today. And Keith, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what got you started and what you've done to get here?
I started in real estate when I was 12. I'm 39 years old now.
I didn't mention among your accolades, you're a stand-up comedian too.
Yeah, I'm sitting in my backyard. It's a cold, brisk day. I went on my bike ride. I feel nice and rested. You wanted what? Background of real estate. So 30 years ago?
Yeah, started
30 years ago.
30
I got
years.
into after traveling for 7 years. I literally traveled by myself around the world for 7 years. And then I came back and I thought I had to do something with myself, get serious, make the parents happy. So I did that because it was easy to get into. You don't have a boss, you don't have a financial ceiling, you don't have anyone telling you where to be and what to do. You make your own schedule. So I did that, and it slowly but surely worked out. I started at a very small firm first. Wasn't really getting a feel. I was really busy, and then about 4 or 5 months later, I left and went to a place in Studio City called Fred Sands at the time, which was sort of the Berkshire Hathaway of its day. And then a lot of those people are in my office now, quite honestly. Wow. So we've had a core group of fantastic friends that we just happen to work together also. And it's been
and it's one thing I can definitely say for sure. The feeling that I get from you and your office is that you all really consider yourselves family and there to support and love on one another. And
crazy because ridiculous chants and all those things going on.
Well, and then things like COVID happen, and you can really bind together. And it's been quite a crazy year. And I've just been kind of, we met recently here just a couple of months ago, and just seeing what you and your team has done just in this last quarter is quite impressive. I mean, can you tell us a little bit about those results and how many people maybe your team has helped in the last quarter?
It has very little to do with me and very much to do with them. I'm just really the support, and we all support each other. I just happen to be the manager. These are all people that take this job very seriously, and they're very professional. Berkshire Hathaway helps a lot. I think the way the company pivoted during this time was truly incredible. It was remarkable how quickly, how efficiently, how professionally they provided so many great things to my agents. And I think they felt that. They felt the support. So, of course, we're going to have a few, like my own particular business suffered a little bit. I just wasn't able to focus on it. And I think a lot of people, or a few people in my office, had that same challenge. But others are having the years of their lives by, adapting to our, I don't want to say new normal, but they learn things. I had to learn things. This is new. This what we're doing right now is new. So all of that sort of, I guess, learning to work in that space and communicating with all the people, because everyone that they're working with are also communicating and going through the same thing. So everyone was sort of learning and adapting at the same time, and those that did it successfully, were able to conduct business too, because we were shut down there for about 6 weeks with not being essential. So we couldn't really do anything. We didn't know where we were going to go. But
so what do you think out of your top people in there that obviously made the pivot properly? What do you think would be like one thing that some really pivoted well into and were able to create success out of it that maybe some others didn't?
I think they, I guess the most successful ones had the systems in place and the communication avenues and pathways in place already, just weren't really, using them as much as we do now. And then as soon as you had to completely communicate online and do all the transactions online and then provide all these different documents and communicate uh, rather than any in-person meetings, they were ready for that.
Okay.
Others took some time to get themselves adjusted. They weren't quite sure, didn't want to embrace it. Change is hard. So people are, slow to come to change unless they're forced into it. I was forced into it. So I had to do it. I had to, otherwise I probably would have sat on the sidelines and said, "Oh, this will pass. I don't have to do that. I'm gonna do this." Now I don't want to fix something that's not broken. But then as soon as I started, uh, getting more technical, more educated in this vernacular, then it was beneficial. So
Right. Okay. So what I'm hearing is that the people that were already starting to adopt technology into their businesses before COVID transitioned the best when it was almost like you have to use technology or else you're
yeah,
gonna drown.
yeah, I think that's accurate.
Okay. Now
Yeah, and they were
you
doing. I mean, they're doing a lot of business anyway. Quite honestly, they were doing a lot of business anyway. They just were able to continue that and add to it. Some
sure.
some who are continuing to build their business, you ran into COVID and it's like shut it down completely. But then they completely pivoted. I hate that word pivot because everyone uses it, but
Yeah.
they completely adapted their business and took off.
Okay.
People recognize, hard work. I think they recognize success, and success in business breeds success and more business. So
Sure. Well, now, but to that point, there's a couple agents in your office that are pretty new. Some of them almost got started during COVID, and
yeah,
they were able to close 3-4 deals this first year during COVID. So
yeah,
that says something for the way that they adapted and engaged and everything, because they weren't agents that were already doing a lot of business.
yeah. I think when it happened, because they were all, we're just starting. What are we going to do? They had no idea. Well, I guess the good part of that is they have no fear. They really have no set principle of things to do, and so I was able to help them and sort of guide them a little bit. But really,
Okay.
they're terrific, fantastic people on their own, and they had a need. And so when you have a need and you have to produce or you have to make something happen, people do. And if they get the right support systems that Berkshire Hathaway had, obviously, and the support and culture that we have helps that along. They were able to go without fear, talk to people, say, "No, it's happening. Things are happening. If you want to sell, I can help you." And the people were more than happy to use them because they, in themselves, the consumers didn't know if this could actually happen too. And so so the messaging and the education happened out on the general public, and that comes from, I guess it starts with above me, to them, and them to the public. And then
Okay.
once that education happened, they were able to get the business without and not knowing, literally not knowing what to do. Oh, I'm getting a listing. I think I know the price. What do I do now?
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is the paperwork you need, and so on. And then slowly, during the process, literally one listing a year, so much happens because you get the listing and the sale that they
Sure.
learn so much so quickly that the next one, each one becomes a little less difficult. Everything,
Okay.
there's always something to learn, but they're not as
Sure.
nervous. I guess that's the hardest part to get over, communicating to your clients on your first or second deal and not showing your nervousness or unsure, trying to do it with confidence as long as you have the good
Yeah.
information.
And obviously being transparent in the fact that if you are novice and you don't know all these different things, don't pretend like you do,
Yeah.
right? Just
And we
I
have
think
and we
people
have mentors,
appreciate
and
that.
mentors are with them also. So they're
Mm.
at the beginning telling their clients that I'm working with a mentor and they have someone who's senior to them, giving that guidance. And I'm always there, obviously,
Got it.
for any questions from clients or from the agents themselves.
Okay. Well, let me take us back a little bit, kind of towards the beginning of your career. I know you mentioned that you were off kind of on your own, and you want to get something started. And it sounds like you had an entrepreneurial spirit from the get go, and somehow you realized that being a realtor would allow you to do that a little bit. But what exactly made you decide to go into real estate? Because obviously 30 years ago things were quite a bit different than they are today.
I think the same things that get people into now to a certain extent is it's easy to get into. You know,
Mhm.
I knew that I knew people that were in it and they were making a lot of money. I knew people, and it was easy to get into. It didn't take any formal education past, going to real estate school and taking a test. And
Yeah.
hopefully you had some intelligence behind that, bright,
Yeah. The exam
personality.
isn't so necessarily simple, but yeah, you don't require a
Yeah,
college
the
degree.
exam has nothing to do with your actual business. It's just, the
Right.
starting point. And I guess, I think the stat is 53% fail their first time out.
Oh
But
wow.
anyway, I got into it. I got into it because it was easy to get into, and I thought, well, my parents were saying you have to do something. So
Hmm.
I was interested in architecture. I was interested in real estate, but I was more interested in traveling, kind of taking it
Okay.
easy. So I did it sort of, uh, you know, half just to dip my toe, really. And then my
Mm.
friend wanted me to be his partner, so I did. And then we went to a small firm, which was a mistake. And then
Mm.
we were just kind of dressing up, going to lunch, not really feeling the business at all. And then
Okay.
I realized that I'm not going to go anywhere having a partner. This partner was more, he just liked to look the part, not really do the things that were necessary, I thought, that needed to be done. So when I
Mm.
went over to Fred Sands in Studio City, there were people there that actually, like, you could see the energy was like they were really making money. They were in it,
Okay.
doing it for a living. So I stuck to the, at that time, they didn't have the mentorship program so formal. So I just kind of latched on to more successful people, asked if I could hang out with them, do whatever it took to sort of learn the process, and slowly held open houses. And I thought, well, I'm just going to do the higher end, because if the process is the same for the lower end or the higher end, the bigger paydays on the higher ends. And I had terrific exposure through my experiences with the luxury market, with those people, so to speak.
Okay.
So I kind of could speak that language a little better,
Gotcha.
and it worked. And
Okay.
so I, I can't say my business is conventional by any stretch. Certainly, it isn't like everyone else's who has
No.
marketed and done all of those things. I've done more social, personal, you
Sure.
know, relationships that have created business, and then business from them. So I'm dealing mostly with people I know.
Yeah. Well, and that's wonderful to have gotten to that point. I think that's everybody's goal, to not have to do necessarily marketing and be on social
Yeah.
media and all this kind of stuff, and just have that interconnections. And clearly you've survived ups and downs, and I'm sure there was mistakes along the way, but you're here 30 plus years later.
I
When
know I
you
fooled everybody.
Yeah, right, yeah, you're
They're all still suckers. Yeah.
well, what exactly did you do then throughout your career that differentiated you from other people who, I'm sure there was tons of people that started along the same time that you did, after you did, that I'm sure are long gone, and you're still around. So what did you do different?
I I don't know if I did something different. I think I didn't try to be somebody I was not.
Hmm.
I was always myself. I was always who I am right here with you right now. At that time, if I didn't have experience, I wasn't telling people I had tons of experience. I was just being kind and hopefully professional and hopefully efficient with what I was trying to accomplish and what they needed to be done.
Okay.
And if I needed help, I was saying, you know what, I don't know. I was easy to go to a senior person and ask them. Most of my business at the beginning came from open houses on expensive houses.
Okay.
So um,
Were
I,
you were you were sitting those open houses for other
yeah,
agents, or?
yeah, at the time, other agents would let me do that. And I don't know what to say. I just got to do that. I
Okay.
just kept
Well, you
being
made
myself. I think authentic and genuine is always the best way to go, because you can
yeah.
always remember that, and it's never hard. It's never hard to be yourself. It's hard to be somebody else.
That's true. Yeah, I
It's
mean, I've
really hard.
always gotten that about you, and I think you kind of already answered the next question I had in mind. This is kind of like, what are one or two main contributing factors to your overall success? And it sounds to me, if I were to distill that, it's be yourself, be genuine, be authentic, be transparent, be all that, all those sorts of things, and then just focus on
And
relationship.
I stay in touch on a real level. I don't call people just for real estate. I call them to tell them a funny joke, or
Yeah.
I'm somewhere else and I said, I thought you might like this. Look at this. Nothing to do
Mhm.
with real estate. Just and that those connections, I think, go deeper than the real estate transaction, and that's what creates my friendships, and that's what creates the loyalty, and that's what creates the referrals, and You know,
Okay.
talk to Keith. He's a nice person. He happens to be good at real estate, but you know, he's a nice person, and he'll be
Yeah.
there for you, that sort of thing.
Well, and that's great advice, not just for people dealing with their clients, but one thing I will say for any manager or real estate broker out there that runs a brokerage is, man, I've never really experienced somebody so cued in as Keith is to every single one of his agents. And he's got over 64 agents right now in his office right now, and he knows the bare bone details to just about everybody. So it's
I know
really, really impressive.
I can send each and every one of those people to jail at any given moment. So I have them over. I have them over a barrel. There's nothing they can do.
Right, so they have to do what you say. Okay, got it. They have to listen to your jokes and read your emails and all that.
Yeah. They got to go through it. They have to go through it.
Well, how about this? Let's look at 3 different people. Okay, let's talk about a brand new agent. Let's talk about somebody who's kind of a semi-seasoned rookie, right? Maybe in the business a couple of years, has a little bit of success. And then your seasoned pros, people that have been in the business a good time, do a good amount of business each year. What advice would you give those 3 different people? And would it be different?
Well, I think for the brand new person, it's to really try everything, be authentic, be genuine. That's the most important. I always think that's the most important, is to make that connection with the people that you meet on a genuine level, because that's once you break through on, there's a helicopter coming over.
It's okay. I can't really hear it, actually.
I don't know if you can hear it, but once you break, it's like in meeting anybody, I think you want that same authentic and genuine hello, how are you? They want, if you have a vulnerable moment with somebody and are able to not necessarily create that, but you're able to share parts of your life with people on a human level, and then you just happen to do real estate as the adjunct to your personality, I think that becomes attractive.
Okay.
And so when you're meeting people, not necessarily, you're not going to get business right off the bat and meet somebody at an open house. Oh, okay, we'll just use you. It could happen, but I think if you use that sort of as your base way of meeting people and continue to have that, you'll never forget what you say. You'll never forget who you are if you just are who you are.
Okay.
And that attractive quality then can breed some business. And then you're obviously, you wouldn't start a company today without social media, right?
Sure.
So if you were thinking about starting a real estate company, you would not, social media would be a component of that. So you have to have a social media presence, I think, today.
Yeah.
Probably some website, not necessarily where people are going to go and hang out, but something that when they Google you, that you have a presence.
Yeah.
Because they may do that, and if you don't have anything and they just see a name,
they seem legitimate.
Like mine. If they just Google me and you don't see anything, they'll pass you on up.
No, you're a ghost on social media, but you didn't need it. Yeah.
Oh, but for them, so they have to really explore all the different avenues of communication. Digital, in person, if we can, when you can, by phone, and all of that. And they do it. The agents that did business this year in my office were genuine and open, and some had met a friend or knew a friend that was going to, and they knew a friend, and then once they had a successful transaction, it breeds communication between those people, and more. So, and I guess for the secondary one, for the person that is central, not central, but not over the top agent, not new, I would say the hardest thing for that agent to do is to adapt to the change. Is to really try to think a little bit more out of the box in your own business, because a lot of people that are in that mid-level were sort of waiting for the phone to ring or have an open house here, open house there, listing here, listing there, and then they get a couple, 3, all of a sudden they have 8 deals for the year. So in our that could be $8-10 million worth of business. Sure. But in this year, you don't have that. So you have to really think out of the box a little bit more, and that's a little more difficult. That change is hard to embrace. And if it doesn't come immediate, you're like, oh, I'm just going to give up on that. So that's the newer person has the energy. The middle person that's been around for a while, that's used to that level of business, that's coming in as a result of other business, and now you don't have those branches that you used to have to hang on to. It's hard. And so those people are the ones that maybe suffered a little bit this year, because it was hard to embrace that that change, think out the box. But that's what I encourage them to do. Think out the box, do something different, and be consistent with it. Not just try it once or twice and like, oh, I did it for a week and then it didn't happen. Well, it's not going to happen in a week. You literally have to have been doing it for, a month, 2 months, 3 months, to where it becomes part of your, just part of your behavior.
Yeah.
And then people will start communicating with you like that, and all of a sudden something may come of it.
Because of the consistency, and they see who you are and everything. You keep showing up. Oh, there's another thing.
Yeah. So it's,
I think it's even tougher these days, because on social media and things like that, you can be as consistent as possible, but the majority of the people that may be following you on social media aren't seeing them, right? So one day some people might see it, another day different people might see it. Like, so we think that just because we post something, our 5,000 friends are going to see it, but that's not the way Facebook and the different platforms work anymore, because they've literally become pay to play. So if you're not sponsoring ads or boosting your posts and things like that.
And I think if it's strictly real estate and you're talking like everyone else, everyone ignores it. I think it means nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you're sharing something, that happened to you, with you, about you, and real estate is part of that. And I think it's engaging. Other than that, I just, if I was watching this, I might just like head out.
Well, you're not giving yourself enough credit.
They just happen to know me. Maybe they're just going to hang in because they know me. But if it's being real estate related, just real estate content is super boring.
Sure.
Super boring. You hear these lender, not you, lender, the other lender stuff. This is your first one, I think. For example, I've had 3 or 4 different lenders in my office. Okay, I've given them all their first deal. They all got fired or left. Couldn't handle it. So I'm the kiss of death, which so I'm not giving you a deal, which So, but what you're doing is, you're doing things that are different. You're attempting to be a part of the culture in a way that others did not. You're really reaching out proactively to each and every agent. You were the first one that met with me and wanted sort of a bio on each of my agents. Like what's their likes, dislikes, how are they, what, so on and so forth. What's their business like? No one would ever do that, but you had an interest, and you had a real need, and you have a real desire to succeed. And now you're doing this. You held those, what are those, you had that little contest that you won that I was able to help you, which is fun. And it just takes time. And I think the other ones didn't realize they were looking more at the office as like this dangling carrot and trying to do their own business, and looking at it as just like, oh, the agents will just come to me because I'm there. But you're treating it like, you want to be valuable, you want to be professional, you want to be their choice because you're the right choice and the best choice with the best service.
And hopefully because they feel that I care, right? It's just
and that's the part of creating the part where you get called, where you're getting the opportunity because they like you. And then once you create the success story, I think that like my job is the same as your job. Once those success stories happen and the referrals come and you did a good job, and then they have confidence in you, and then when Ivan says they're good, they're good. They don't have to worry about whether that means, well, I hope I'll get that loan through, or trying to get the loan, but when he says it's good, it's good. So that's where you're working towards, and I think it's awesome.
I appreciate that.
Sort of out of that out of the box, sort of different. No one's ever interviewed me, and there's a good reason, because you see the result.
Well, I didn't tell you anything about a dress code or anything like that.
You have a core subject. Maybe you should, I mean, I can
here's again part of you being you and being genuine.
I can really start talking. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth, so I'm really trying to temper it here.
Well, I have my sensor on ready.
And I guess going back to your original question,
the pros.
For the seasoned agent that's still continuing, they need to embrace exactly what they've been doing, and even more so. Put more into it. For example, I have an agent in the office that created a newsletter during this COVID time, as opposed to he never had anything that went out like on a weekly basis that sort of captured the news or the moment, with feeling and emotion. And they were able to do that. Now they have a great following, so to speak, within the community. Really want to see these little newsletters and what they have to say, and they get comments. And so sort of like Mary Lee's Monday Morning Minute that we get, everyone knows it's there, but there's some of them are good, some of them are average, but you want to see them. I don't know, it's just engaging. It's nice to see people engage like that. And I think that's what the seasoned agent can do, is something whether it be video, whether it be, you know, in a newsletter content, changing up their websites to adapt to what we're all experiencing. I mean, anything that adds a little bit more a change, because all of the people you're doing business with, business managers and so on at that level, are seeing everything normally that you're doing. So it's a big yawn. But if you're do something different, all of a sudden it may catch the attention, like, oh, they're really adapted. They're doing this little bit here.
Okay.
So making you feel fresh,
That makes
making
sense.
your business feel fresh, making your presence feel more fresh. And I think that creates, or it certainly has this year, more business for those people.
So I guess it's fair to say that I just don't think that you become too big to keep learning new things.
Never. You can, you know, like they always say, you can make this, you have a lifelong to create this reputation, and all of a sudden one transaction, one moment can take it away from you. So it's the same, I think, in what you've established as in your business. You can have this terrific business, but if you're not really changing, all of a sudden someone new comes along, your competitor, they go, wow, they look fresh, they look new, they look like they're right on top of things, you know. And if you're still got the old style, it may work for a certain level of clients, but it's not looking for the new breed of client, you know, that's communicating on completely different digital levels that you have to adapt to.
Good point.
Yeah.
Well, let's look forward a little bit, since this is the last week of 2020. You know, looking into 2021, what kind of goals and or expectations do you have for the coming year, either with yourself, your office?
I'm not really like, oh, you know, I'm got a list of goals and I'm going to check them off. I'm not that type of person. So I see the market for 2021 as being very similar to now. I mean, November, December, we're exceptionally busy.
Okay.
I don't think we're going to have that. I don't think the market can sustain that type of activity, but I think it could sustain the great levels of activity that we had during the summer, spring and summer, after we became essential. I think inventory is going to continue to be low. I think rates are going to continue to be low. They may start to inch up. You know, I'm looking at like 6-7 months for things to maybe have a different look, interest rate wise. I think we've hit the low on interest rates.
Yeah.
And I think they'll maybe, with a little confidence in the economy, as we see things start to get better behind the new administration, there's new energy. I don't know if it's going to be better or not, but there'll be new energy for sure. And I think that will make things, you know, just change a little bit, just because I think a lot of our industry is based on consumer confidence and mindset of the consumer. So if all of a sudden we have all of the people that were furloughed or, you know, working from home, and all of a sudden they decide that the people that used to work in the office, oh, we don't necessarily need that amount of people, or we don't need them for that many hours, or however we furlough them for, I guess we're being just as efficient with them at this amount of work as opposed to the previous amount of work. So I think once that all settles in, and once the second round of stimulus is through, then we'll see where we lie as far as a real economy with people with, you know, what they're really facing.
Yeah.
As long as they're being supported by the government or getting some sort of support, whether it be from the state or on those grants or in any other way, I don't think I'll know what our true economy is. I mean, we've been low on inventory before COVID, and so once COVID hit, then we had, you know, 30% less. People were just taking off the market. They want people inside their home.
Right.
And so then people adjusted to it, and slowly we saw that their neighbors were selling for the highest prices they've seen in their lifetime. And then that education happened. So I think that's what I see for 2021. I see the same amount of activity. Probably, I think the numbers were normally 5 to 5.5 million homes sold nationally. This year, during COVID, the most difficult year, we have 6 to 6.5 million homes sold. Wow. So you see the level of transactions. It seems like it would support a lot of inventory, but it's actually not a lot of inventory, just a lot of people transacting. You know, you're at home realizing what their needs are, and they're realizing with the low rate they can substantially move into something else, getting the highest price on theirs, taking all their money, their equity out, putting it down towards the new house, getting the new loan at the historically low rate. So they're not paying much more for their new house. They just have to compete a lot harder and pay a lot more because there's a lot of competition. But
well, I would agree with you, Keith. For the next 6 months, I think we're going to see a climate that's very similar to what it is right now. And ironically, once that consumer confidence does come back and all that stuff is over, and the vaccine, and people just start getting back to normal, that's when you're going to start seeing these rates start ticking up a little bit. And I just want to remind everybody that right now, the rates, even if you happen to get a rate in the threes because of some situation or self-employment, jumbo loan, all that, like, that's still a gift right now. It wasn't too long ago we were in double-digit rates, and even low or high single-digit rates, and now, I mean,
5-6% are incredible rates. We're just been so spoiled for so long now.
I was excited when I got a 6.5% first and an 8% second. I was like, all right, I'm doing okay, But now it's you can buy a rate down as much as 2.25 and different things, which is just nuts. It can't go any lower, really. Other than zero. It's still a great time to buy and refinance, and yes, I think we're going to remain confident moving forward. Now, for anybody who is going to be looking to either purchase or refinance their home, what advice would you give a seller or a buyer in regards to how they select a realtor or broker to work with?
Talk to your friends, see if there's someone that they use that they like, that had a good experience. If they're a buyer, obviously, I think a referral is always the best way to reach that person.
Okay.
That you can trust, because it's kind of built in. If it's coming from someone you trust, and then they give you somebody, then you already got that part of it worked out. You're thinking of refining, I do it right now, literally right now. Do not wait. Do not hesitate at all if you're refining. If you're thinking of purchasing, obviously the prices are high, but the rates are low. So if you're getting a loan, then I think it's a wash. You're going to pay higher, but you're going to pay lower on the monthly. You're going to have a higher tax base, but it's not going to be that crazy much higher. If the market corrected 10%, would it be that big a difference? No, not in your life, not in the prices here, especially. So I think you have to look for quality, and quality of life is your primary concern, and just go with what you can afford. Don't be stretching I think the future, I guess it's individual, depending on your employment, what you do, and how your sector is operating and working right now, what you feel your future is, and how confident you can be in your purchase power. But I'm always a conservative person when it comes to purchasing power, and you can deal with 4,000 square feet. You don't need 5,500. It's basically the same amount of room. Got a little bit more. They're a little bit bigger on the other one. So, stick with the 2.5. You don't have to go 3.2, 3.3 if you can find it, that kind of thing.
Okay.
That's my opinion to my clients anyway. It's not
so I love it. Yeah. Seek referrals, word of mouth, and be conservative in what you're looking for. Okay.
Yeah.
And last thing I'll leave you guys with. I mean, and this has been great. I think a lot of people are going to get good value out of this, Keith. So I appreciate it. But is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
What my favorite color was. My favorite food is lobster. So I like steak and lobster, and I like fillets. So if you're thinking of a gift, these are great gifts. I also like gift cards to Bay City's Deli in Santa Monica. Great sandwiches there. Most people know in the office that if you're taking me to lunch, you take me to somewhere that has a tuna sandwich and a good tuna sandwich. So
and don't forget the cookies, right?
These are all things, and homemade chocolate chip cookies, which are really important, which a couple people in the office have made, which are really good. So this will come with your future knowledge of the office, of how to continue to be able to have an interview with your manager, is to bring him these types of food, take him to lunch, and have those types of foods available. Whether it be a dinner, then it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but those are the foods that I'm going to be.
So you got a budget for that one.
Yeah, you better do some loans.
Well,
and I'm impressed. You already got going, so I'm really happy about it. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, thank you.
I hope you're happy with yourself. I think you should be. So.
Well, I appreciate the support. I always feel like I can be doing more and get creative, and here we are, right? So, and I love the interaction. I love being able to bring value to people. So, to that point, if anybody watching this, you got some good value out of this, you got some laughs and some good points, be sure to share, like, and comment in the thread, and send it to any agent that or seller, buyer that you think might get some value out of.
Who's going to share this?
Well, I mean, we're going to leave your name
Get
off of
value.
it just
I
in
don't know.
case. We're going
It's
to
like
leave your
talking
name
to your
off.
friend, you know, they could call me up on the phone or text me and get this, I guess.
Yeah, I'll give you the shareable link. And you know, I will leave you with this. We all do have to have an intention, not only to help people, but what it is that we're doing. And my intention right now is to help at least 70 people in the next 6 months. And the opportunity is still ripe. So I would just ask if you could just think of me whenever you come across somebody, or if you yourself are looking to
Here's the yawn part.
get your next home or refinance your property. I'll be sure to refer you to Keith and give you his home address so you can knock on his door in case you have any
Exactly.
questions. But Keith, do you want to leave any contact information for anybody who might need some help?
No, all those people know how to reach me.
Okay.
Everyone
So all
knows
the people
me.
that would never work with you can reach you through me. If you guys want
Yeah.
a direct introduction to any of the agents in his office, then feel
Yeah,
free
I
to
have
reach out to me as well.
terrific, wonderful
And
people.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, really.
Happy New Year.
Grateful. Have a grateful New Year, everyone.
Thanks
Beautiful.
so much. We'll
All right,
talk
thank
to you
you.
guys soon.
All right.